Happy Hump Day Part 2, second hump, because I was with you for the first hump earlier this morning because I'm always here. Welcome to the Midnight Express. It's going to be open topic. Who knows what the hell we're talking about, but
Yeah, who knows?
I had a pretty fun day. I mean, we could talk about anything from the pictures of the crow. That's pretty much big news for me. Before I get started, I'm going to do something here. Just so that we are clear about the only hashtag that I'm truly behind. And there it is. There you go. All right. That's the hashtag. I've explained myself. I've explained the dynamics of it. I've explained the logistics of why I think that's the best one. However, if you're pushing another one and you're not figuratively kicking me in the balls, push it. Push it. And here's the thing. I'm going down the road with my hashtag, my beliefs, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm driving down the dark road. And if you got your hashtag over here off to the side of the road, off the beaten path, and you're way over there and you're doing your thing and you got people over there doing the thing with you, you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to turn my Jeep and go off the road into the rocks, into the grass, into the desert, and drive towards you to run you over because your hashtag ain't mine or I think you're doing this. You know what? I am not going to go out of my way one way or another, whether I agree with their hashtag or not. Do not conflate what I was posting earlier about me just feeling outright creepy about people who just seem to be a tad bit too obsessed with people and their hashtags. All right, show me on the, I am as passionate about these characters and these IP as any of you guys. When's the last time you saw me go after anybody's hashtag, whether anybody wanted something believe? I don't care who it is. You can try to zero in on one particular thing or the other. I don't do it. I've been consistent throughout. Find me somewhere where I haven't been consistent. If you want to believe in the Easter Bunny, the Jockalopes, Slender Man, Yeti, the Jersey Devil, and you are, like I said, not in my shit, continue to. I can't even pull up an article about Dan Lin because I got so many people that were associated with me or in 6 degrees of separation couldn't help themselves. I guess this means the end of the Snyder. I'm like, what? Oh, he doesn't like Steiner, so I guess what's going on? Hold on. I just want to get this out, and then I'm going to let you go. But I'm like, Dan Lin getting appointed, what the fuck did that have to do with the price of tea in China when it goes to anything else? But yet, immediately, I had to go mute because I'm like, I can't even read the article. Don't even want to hear about Dan Lin anymore today because of all that. I'm like, so yeah, seriously, it's a bit creepy. And some of you, listen, we will differ on this opinion. Trust me, I've already said it. But you are more than welcome to come into this chat. You are more than welcome to come into my atmosphere. Just we disagree on this. I'm sorry. I just find it a bit unsettling the way people go out of their way. And like I said, I don't know those people, the particular ones that are. I don't know them. I've never been on the air with them. Never been on the screen with them. I'm not defending anybody. I just find it a little bit creepy that when I get to click on an article about a new studio head, that all the discourse about it that I get to cut out is about something that has nothing to do with him. So there you go, bud. The floor is yours.
Oh yeah, and of course, obviously this is something we were going to be talking a bit about. And by the way, guys, as William mentioned last night, it's I was just, it's been a bit of a packed week for me, so
I'm just kidding.
So it's like I'm also doing. Be part of it. It's also doing some assistant teaching now at my dojo and a few other things. That's like I was just dead tired last night. So I just had to get. I just had to get it. So usually I wouldn't have, but it's like it finally caught up with me. So yeah, unfortunately I had to take my leave from last night, but I'm back this evening. So that's
like I said, who knows? One of these nights you might be just taking over for me, and to the point where like I said, we can keep the streak going, but it doesn't have to be the Slee Stack hosting the show all the time. It could be you. It could be Kung Fu Panda himself doing it. So, but yeah, I just wanted to get that off my chest because I just felt this. I just kind of like, wow. And then you have so many people that are like, well, this is toxic. I'm like, well, listen, the only reason I know of some of these people that are, allegedly doing whatever is through the people I know. I don't even know them through the stuff that they do, which means the only way that I know who they are is because some of these people were just constantly bringing them up in their mentions and whatever. And because of the way Twitter worked, I don't want to unfriend anybody because it's not that big deal. I'm still friends with you. I don't agree with the way you're going about these things sometimes, but gee whiz. But hey, everybody, how's everybody doing? Hi, Ruth. Hi, Bradley. Hi, Austin. Hi, Aaron, my favorite Australian. Joga, my fourth or fifth, maybe. No. Just kidding, Joga. Yeah, R.I.P. Virgil, man, 61 years old. And then Richard Lewis died. I don't know. I didn't read up on Richard Lewis. I know he died. I don't know how ill he was, but he was 76 years old. Virgil was only 61. And Virgil is, for somebody who grew up with pro wrestling, Virgil, the $1 Million Man, he was a fixture with him, and he broke out on his own, NWO and everything else. There was a lot of people that had a lot of problems with the way he was portrayed back then, because the rich white guy, and here's basically a butler or servant, when basically it was just all in fun. I mean, they were both professional wrestlers. The $1 Million Man really didn't have $1 million. In fact, he has far less. And Virgil was just kind of all he would do was have the money. He was a side piece. But I got a chance to meet him. I mean, he was a cool guy. I mean, everybody you hear about him say he was a cool guy. 61. Listen, 61 is not. I don't believe 61 is where you should be dying. So I don't know if he was. Like I said, both Richard Lewis and I didn't get a chance to make a thumbnail for Richard Lewis. I know who Richard Lewis is. I've seen him and stuff, but he's. When it comes to the people that are like, affect me directly as far as like the stuff I grew up with, Virgil was, literally Virgil. So Mike Jones, RIP, rest in power. And I just hate the fact that it just seems like a good percentage of my streams sometimes are opening up with the death of wrestlers before their time. And like I said, in my opinion, 61 years old is too young to be going, but I don't know his circumstances. So, do I even want to hit the chat tonight?
Well, of course,
if I could pick myself in my own ass, I think I might find it more pleasurable. But hey, you guys are fun.
Well, I mean, they're not picking you about Scary Movie, also. So I mean, count your blessings.
Oh yeah, we're at 8,000 guys. Like I said, there won't be a standard Saturday overnight live. We'll be doing something at that length, but it's going to be later on because I have our B movie Burlesque that I'm launching again. It's going to take a lot of work to get that back going after 18 months off. So I will be heavily involved in that, but we will be doing something later in the evening, earlier in the afternoon, 2 p.m., our standard fundraising time. We are going to be doing DC New Frontier, the movie, the 2008 movie. So we're going to do that. And hopefully we're going to raise some more money. Once we get in, $1 inside of 8,000 puts us within under $2,000 before April 19th, and about 10 days less than 2 months that we will be doing that. I think April 19th. When is it actually released? Hold on, because it is.
It's April 19th when Scargiver comes out.
But it's going to be on the it's going to be overnight though, right? Or the actual that time of day, because that's a Saturday, isn't it? I know that's a Saturday.
I mean, look, I think it's a Friday, and thank God. Also, thank them. I'm also glad they picked the 19th, of course, because it's like one day later it'd be on Hitler's birthday, and we don't want that.
Or it's on 420, and everybody's going to be high. So there you go.
But yeah, kind of going back before we get into the chat, of course, everything William was saying there, and I had a little bit of a similar thing to this myself on social media today, which I'm sure some of you in the chat saw, where it's like you have that thing circulating on Twitter where somebody says like, what happened in, this year or something. And I took the one from 2016 and I said the greatest gladiator match in the history of the world. I used a BVS GIF, and all hell breaks loose because apparently a lot of the detractors still cannot live with the fact that people actually like this freaking movie.
Listen,
8 years after the fact.
There's a lot of stuff I don't like. I'm going to talk about the stuff I do like. I mean, like I said, when's the last time we had a Deadpool show? When's the next time we're going to have a Deadpool show? Never.
Well,
you know why?
That'll
be the one you host. That'll be the one you host. I'll take that night off. Why? Because I have no use for the character. we're not going to have a Smallville show either. Not me. That'll be a Brad night. Not me. Why? I have no use for. I some of these things I just can't stand. I mean, they're not going to have a JLI, Justice League version show. Never going to have that. Why? Because these things don't make me happy. I'm going to talk about the things that make me happy. And I just, like I said, I don't have it in my nature to just go hunt somebody down. I mean, like I said, if you are 60 years old and you want to believe that there's a fat guy that is going to jam his ass down your chimney and take your cookies and leave you shit instead of burglarizing you, hey, it's not hurting me. And if you get other people to believe in that, listen, if they're grown-ass consenting adults, them being lied to or misled, hey, it sucks. There's also such thing as self-accountability. If you think somebody's lying or believing, dude, listen, we are all allowed to believe in whatever the fuck we want to believe in. And there's a lot of people. I got family members that believe in some crazy shit. But guess what I do? I'm going to get up and I'm going to go about my day, and their crazy shit is not going to affect my outlook.
I know people, some who I respect, some I might even say are friends who I know are, if not Trump supporters, at least sympathetic to him in ways. That's like we definitely let that just sit off on its own island. And I'm sure William knows some too. But going back to what he was saying. A little bit earlier about because of course this plays into the. I guess we'll go to make like our first topic, which of course is Dan Lin becoming the new head of a Netflix film, which after Scott Stuber's departure, which everybody the thing everybody immediately zeroed in on with that was that he was previously, before James Gunn and Peter Savard came in, he was at one point in the running to run DC Studios. He did this interview with a certain journalist who has shown a decidedly a quite visible, let's say, dearth of integrity in a lot of her reporting. And the topic of Zack Snyder and his fan base came up during this interview, and it said something to the effect of, his name came up and he said something to the effect of, oh yeah, the Autobots or something. It was just kind of an offhand comment. And so fast forward to today, he gets the Netflix gig, and now there's just a whole back and forth about, oh, well, that happens. So it's like, well, now you guys can kiss the Snyderverse on Netflix goodbye, and going back to what William has said, it's like, and one thing I mentioned earlier offline to him, it's like they're, some of the people who are just really just sneering and just have this unhealthy need to just crush anybody's desire who wants to see this thing through. I mean, there are people who I have lost a lot of respect for, and that in the last, because of how juvenile a lot of this has gotten. And I mean, there are people who I've had to graduate from muting to blocking, because I won't name names, but because as William and I, of course, we have this rule, and here it's like we're not gonna do Twitter beeps or we're not going to do like YouTube beefs with other YouTubers. That's not what we're about. But it's, it's been disheartening to see a lot of some of this that he was referring to.
This topic has got about 30 more seconds and I'm going to the crow. But here's the thing. I am part of a movement. I guess I've been since 2017. I have no leader. So I don't know who you guys are talking about being led. A grown ass man. I ain't following nobody. All right. So Dan Lin is now banned because prior to this, I really don't care about him running Netflix. I don't think it means anything, to be honest with you, one way or another. The only reason I know who Dan Lin was, he was one of the many people who didn't want or didn't get the job at when DC Studios was happening. DC Studios job, yeah. That's all Dan Lin is. I know he has credits otherwhere.
Funnily enough, he was an executive producer on Avatar, the new Avatar on Netflix that just dropped. So I don't know how much that played into him getting the Netflix job. I mean, it was a big hit on the platform. So, but I'd imagine they probably had those talks. It might have been like it might have been in the lead up to it. It's like the Netflix is probably like really pleased with what they saw and said, "Oh, you might be like a good guy to take this gig on." One thing I will also say before we end the topic here with Dan Lin is that I would imagine that, listen, the dude knows what he's going into as far as like Snyder is. Currently working with Netflix and Rebel Moon and Army of the Dead and all that. And these guys are going to have a working relationship now. So, I can't, yeah, so there's not, this is not going to be this petty fan war that some people want it to be. And this one offhanded comment that he made along, it was several months ago, close to a year ago now. It's like, I can't imagine that's like, once they, with them collaborating, it's like, it's not going to be this what we were referring to, earlier with a lot of the Twitter drama, fandom drama. It's going, these guys are going to be professionals, and it's not, and Dan Lin is not going to be like just teasing Snyder every day. It's like, oh, this is the one thing of yours I'm never going to greenlight. I mean, it's just, as much as some people would love that to be the case, it's just not going to be the case.
Yeah. And plus Rebel Moon, I don't think it's gonna matter. Like I said, I don't think Dan Lin's appointment to Netflix didn't renew my day. Like I said, I just thought it was hilarious as I'm scrolling through it, trying to read the article, all this madness, and I'm like, hilarious. What's the rumors that Superman Legacy will have the second highest budget movie of all time? I don't think that's true. Somebody was they were talking about millions. That wasn't going to happen. The most it's going to be is 200 million. That's all I need. Go ahead.
And Gunn debunked that. Somebody asked him on Instagram or Threads, like, I heard a rumor that your budget's going to be 364, and he said, no, it's not going to be 364. It's like, come on, that's overkill. I mean, you don't spend that kind of money unless you got like an end game level, like culmination event kind of thing.
Because like I said, the movie, like I said, I think that Superman Legacy is actually going to lose the money. If it makes the money, and if it makes like a 500 million, dude, somebody, like I said, that person should get a statue out in Burbank. But I actually think it's going to lose the money. But that, like I said, that shouldn't have mattered. I said this, months and months ago. Make the movie you need to make the impression you need to make. Period. Because you're not going to get another shot. So, but don't be doing a $90 million movies and they're going to make this for cheap because they have to know they don't. They can't afford to make some cheap shit. They got to come out of here with looking really good, because that sets up everything else that you're trying to do. Even if I don't like Superman Legacy, because you got Metamorpho and a bunch of JLI characters that like I said, I usually put in the quarter bin. But you know what? If it opens up the gate and you establish this world in a credible way, and it has to be what you need. So if you need 185 million, then spend 185 million. If you can do it in 90, which I doubt, then do it in 90. But spend the money you need. Don't be coming in with coupons trying to give me, some just a step higher than the CW. That will put a hole in your ship, and it's going straight down. So I heard this. There's not going to be $300 million. They may spend $200 million on the movie and the production, and they may spend another $100 and some odd million marketing it. I think they could save themselves a couple of dollars, though, if they started the marketing campaign a lot sooner. And that way you're spreading a lot less money over an 18-month period of time, but that's on them. But they're probably going to spend. This is probably going to be one of the most expensive ad campaigns out there, because of the fact that it's that important. It's your first impression after a lot of other stuff has gone down, and it's just you don't have the credibility to do anything less. So I heard that today. I thought those rumors were kind of funny, but like I said, I think that 350 million overall, including the ad budget and everything else, will be in that range. But once again, whatever it takes to get it out there and to start thawing through, because like I said, half the people are not going to see this movie. Half the people who are in the Superman of any other version are not going to see this movie in the theaters. However, they will see it at some point. They'll lie to you and say, well, I'm not going to watch it. No, they're going to watch it on Max. But see, that's an investment, though, because Max belongs to WBD. Subscribers on Max are just as important as anything. So you want to put something out there that when people get to it, they're like, oh, wow, that's some great shit. I'm in for your other shit. But if they come out with some low budget, cheesy stuff, people are going to be like, well, damn, I can watch that on the CW or in reruns. I'm not going to pay $14-$15 and 100 some odd. So it's got to be mind blowing in that respect. The story's got to be strong. James Gunn, I think, is good enough to write. He's shown me that he can write stories. He's shown me that he can make me care about characters that I wouldn't have normally cared about. So, but like I said, it's going to take everything, and even if everything goes perfect for it, I still think it's going to struggle to make money, simply because it's being put out by a company that doesn't have the best track record right now and has zero credibility when it comes to superhero movies. But you have to start somewhere. So yeah, that budget's kind of crazy.
But the idea, it's like, I mean, again, you don't spend like that high, like just on your production budget, unless again you're getting like the final battle show, culmination, end of the franchise kind of thing. It's like, you save that for when you've got your flag more planted. Okay, of course. What else we got in the chat?
I'm in KFC, so I can't hear the stream. What, they got KFCs in Australia? What do you? What's the K? Is it K stand for kangaroo? I'm sorry, I should not say that.
Aaron has been curious. They posted the pictures of the Crow on the same day that Sting had his last Dynamite show.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's bring that up, by the way, because
The Crow pictures.
Yeah, I got them right here. I'm a little bit on the mixed side.
Okay. Oh yeah, listen, a lot of people are, and a lot of people have likened it to the appearance to like Jared Leto as the Joker. Which I mean, that's like,
so there he is.
However we feel about the Joker, it's like, I mean, the question is that going to fly for the Crow?
This movie is going to have bigger problems than what he looks like, and that's him before he becomes a Crow right there. This movie's biggest problem is that when the Crow, like I always say, when the Crow was released in 1994, it was a perfect storm of a lot of good and a lot of bad. The atmosphere of the post-alternative age, the postmodern age, as far as music drove this movie. Brandon Lee, unfortunately, being killed in this movie, will put a lot of eyes on this movie that would have never given this movie 5 minutes. It had a time and a place. Now, the way that this movie can succeed is it's got to be something. The only thing about it that can be connected to the Crow is the fact that the myth of the Crow. You have Eric Draven and you have the Bird, and he comes back. He has one night to right the wrongs and kill all the people. That part is going to be standard no matter what era. But if you take away the atmosphere that made the 1994 Crow what it was, it really is just another revenge movie. It's a revenge movie, like with a wraith, basically. So much of what the Crow in 1994 was the atmosphere and of what what was driving it, and the death of Brandon Lee. And I hate to say that because I love the Crow movie. I think the Crow movie is great. It's one of the most accurate comic book movies ever made, with the exception of the Crow does not talk. He talks in the comics. Other than that, I mean, everything else pretty much, for the most part, the death scene is different. It takes place differently, but the basic premise is there. And in the comic book, it's much more brutal when they're raping her and shooting her, and shooting him. And the Bird is talking to him, saying, don't look, it'll be over soon, and we'll get him. The Crow is actually there as it's happening, just like it is in the movie, but he's talking him through it. He's telling him, because he's already picked him as his avatar that's going to come back a year later. But everything else, for the most part, the look of it, the feel of it is very, very genuine. The Crow is a very, very dark book, and this most people didn't even just like Blade. Most people who saw the Crow did not even know the Crow was a comic book. Their connection to what the Crow was Brandon Lee being killed on set. That's what their connection was. Unfortunately, I knew it because I actually met J.O. Barr at the previous Comic-Con the year that the Crow came out. And I actually have a signed copy somewhere of the Crow trade paperback that came out right after the series wrapped up.
Some cons I've been to as well.
Yeah, so I know who he is, and he was getting over the death of a loved one, or I think it was a girlfriend that got killed in a drunk driver accident, and that was his way of coping with it. So he was in a very, very dark place when he wrote that. And the Crow came out, and that's why we covered it as one of our turning points. The Crow came out at a time when the Sandman and things like that were starting to make it possible to tell non-superhero stories. And it was a small caliber press. It was a super, super small imprint that made it. But it was an underground hit. I mean, you couldn't buy the Crow, like where most kids could buy X-Men and Fantastic Four off of a bookshelf or off of a 7-Eleven rack. Hey Kids Comics, you were not buying the Crow then. So for the Crow, not too long after it had been conceived and created, to get its own movie was kind of I was shocked. I remember sitting in a comic store and we heard about it. I was shocked to hear that, and I'm like, cool. And then, like I said, before we even knew that it was getting released, the very next thing you heard about it was Brandon Lee being killed, and it was just like, But this movie has an uphill battle. I'm going to give it a shot because, like I said, he doesn't look like the Crow that I know, but it isn't the Crow that I know. I mean, these guys are doing something or did something different than, it's not 1994. But that's your Crow.
Oh, by the way, I want to bring this up too because something Austin just said. Momoa would agree. Yeah, because for those of you who don't know, at one point, Jason Momoa was attached to be Eric Draven in the remake. It's interesting you bring that up because I personally think Jason Momoa actually would have been, if you're doing like a Crow remake, reboot, whatever you want to call it. It's like I actually think he would have been the perfect top dollar. I could have really seen him as top dollar.
Yeah. He would have. I can see him more as top dollar than I can see him as a Crow. But then again, I never like to put limits on people. Like, in fact, I like people to take roles that are the next step up. You know what I mean? And I think top dollar would have been a step up than a Crow.
Because he has a lot of villains.
I don't want to say that, but I got a feeling it might. So for me, dog shit is like, all right, if I compare it to the epic that is the original, even the sequels that came after it, the direct sequels are dog shit in comparison to that. So it's gonna be, this movie has an uphill battle. And plus now, oh my God, it's been 30 years since that movie came out.
Yeah.
Oh, and adult me saw this movie, which means I'm old. It's going to you gotta, in the 30 years since it's come out, it has a cult following. And you know how cult followings are, no matter what it is, man. I mean, but once again, I could see it, and I could be like, you know what? I like it. I'm going to give it a shot. I am going to go see this movie because, like I said, I have, it probably, hopefully, we'll be promoting it. And if we promote it, I'm going to package it with the original Crow. So,
this is so true.
That is the thing right there. And we're in the era where soundtracks aren't the biggest thing. Back when the Crow was released, soundtrack in the 80s and 90s, soundtracks were everything, man. Soundtracks were one of the biggest marketing of the tool. In fact, we need to do a Turning Point storyline on the death of the soundtrack. We now have sound scores, which I love. Thank God we have Hans Zimmer and Williams and all these other guys. But back in the day, when you released a movie, that video, that motion picture soundtrack used to be one of the biggest selling points. Dude, Guns N' Roses, You Could Be Mine, practically sold Terminator 2.
Oh, yeah.
Arnold was Beverly Hills Cop 2. There were so many movies that was the biggest selling point, was the soundtrack. These days, you don't have that. There's no rock video for Dune. Granted, it has an excellent sound score, but The Crow was one of those movies that was driven. That was a career maker, man.
Yeah. The Crow is like in a lot of ways, because a lot of people, it was likened, it still is, likened as almost like a music video made into a movie. So the soundtrack, the rock soundtrack, really is kind of inseparable from the essence of the Crow. I'm actually, as I'm saying this, I'm actually playing Eric Draven's guitar solo in the background. So,
and Stone Temple Pilots was doing well at that time. When Big Empty came out, they were doing way better. That song, I shit you not, is in the movie. Not only is it in the movie for a few seconds, it's on the radio in the car while those fools are driving around drunk. It's like, it's not even a major part of the movie, but man, when you saw that Crow in the flame after it started becoming a hit and they kept it in theaters longer, you saw the Crow, lighting up in the frame, and all you were here is Stone Temple Pilots. And like I said, we went up and down that soundtrack for one of our album Turning Points, and that soundtrack, you either were already there or your career was being made. Like I said, I think a long way towards Stone Temple Pilots' legend became that song. So yeah, this show, I don't know if this one's gonna have a song, because we're not in the era. When's the last time we had a motion picture soundtrack that had videos and songs, not musical scores, but actual songs? Can anybody point out in the chat when
I can't think offhand. That's a really good question. Yeah. Oh, Aaron also asked you sell the. I'm sure William does. You show the Crow comic in the Science Center.
Yes. Definitely. I sell the trade paperback now because the comics themselves are a tad bit expensive. Because remember, it was a very low print run. Caliber Press did not print a lot. They were as big as your garage. Back then it was Marvel, DC. When the Crow came out, there was no Image. You had Dark Horse, but they weren't what a lot of people would know them, becoming in the mid to late 90s. You had like Fleetway with Judge Dredd. You had a lot of independent. but they were all super small, super duper small. And Caliber Press was one of those. So when you were a small company like that, you were a small print run. So you didn't print. There weren't a lot of copies of the Crow out there. There's a lot of second and third printings of it out there, but the actual number, the first printings of it are rare because they were so because the Caliber Press was such a small banner. So yeah, but yes, I do. I have the trade paperback in there, and to be honest with you, whereas the Crow movie sequels weren't all that great, the Crow comics that came afterwards, that the sequels in the comics, and the way that the comics did it was right. See, when the Crow sequels came out in the 90s and the Crow show, and when you had the other guy that was a Crow and he just happens to look like Brandon Lee, what Brandon Lee looks like in the Crow is unique to him. Each Crow, each person that becomes the Crow is the animal, is a bird. Everybody, the avatar, the angel, or whatever you want to call it, the one he brings back, he or she has a look indicative of what they're going through. There's one where this I think it was a woman Crow. She was an Indian, she was Native American, and her whole family was slaughtered and raped and killed. And she had a completely different makeup that was centered on the folklore and the gods of their culture. And she took that form. Each Crow was supposed to do that. So whenever I saw Crow sequels looking just like Eric Draven, remember in the Crow and in the comic, because it's one of the covers, he designs his makeup on the first thing he sees when he makes himself back into his apartment, and it's that mask. His design on his face is that mask that's hanging on his mirror. Unless that mask was hanging in everyone who the Crow ever brings back, that's kind of goofy that they did that. But they just wanted to take advantage of the look and the phenomena. But when you read the actual sequels in the comics, those are good. So I might bring those up because I love it.
Did you ever see the TV show? With Martha Coscos?
I hated it. I didn't hate it because of him. I thought he did a good job. I just hated the premise of it. It was like, that show kind of watered down the premise of what the Crow is supposed to be. The next time, every time I see a Crow, I don't want to see that. I want to see something different. Now, obviously, this is a reimagination of the same Eric Draven. But if they would have done it right, each Crow would have looked distinctly different. You could have had a Crow that rose from the dead out of a Holocaust imprisonment camp and years later and went after Nazis and stuff. There's so many things you could have done with the story.
That's such a good idea. I want to see that now.
I actually drew. I gotta dig it out somewhere. I actually drew a comic. I drew and wrote a comic back when I got into what I was doing because I was originally an artist. I was an artist. But now that this whole business thing takes over everything, I don't have any time. I try, I still draw every now and then. But I drew it in black and white, and it was basically, they were being experimented on all kinds of stuff that was happening. But they were at Auschwitz, and there was a particularly evil, camp commandant, and killed him, shot him, and the Crow was there. The Crow and have the Crow pecking away, and then when they're all pushed into the ditch, Crow comes back and one person comes out, but it's years and years later because this was in a landfill that that they never found. So it wasn't a year later; it was years later, and this Crow comes after and basically hunts this person down, and wherever they're at in the world, and it's just not one person; they're spread throughout the world. So it's a little bit more violent, brutal. But I always thought that would be something that they could have done. The Native American one that they did was really, really good. I gotta find those and get those back into the store. But the Crow comics went the right way. The Crow movies did not. So. I think this movie's going to have a struggle. I mean, it sucks.
And yes, Aaron. Yeah, it was called Crow Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah, Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah, and by the way,
featuring one of the better martial artists of his generation.
Martha Coscos. Oh hell yeah! Oh hell yeah! Yeah, I was just saying Martha Coscos.
He did not get enough. He did not get as much work as he
should. Oh, he finally is now.
He should have got a lot more work than he did.
No, he's
still pretty strong. He would be 60.
Well, he's still going pretty. Yeah, he just turned.
He should have got a lot of work.
He's really especially last he's really people kind of rediscovered Mark, I think, in a lot of ways, ever since John Wick 3 when he was in it. So yeah, he's Mark. I've interviewed him twice. He's, it was an absolute pleasure, and yeah, he's look over his body of work. He's one hell of a martial arts guy, and yeah, Fourth made a comment here that I'm not sure I should bring up. It relates to the Crow. Should I bring it up?
Oh, what? Bring it up.
Okay. And as Aaron points out, you had to bring this up on the last day of Black History Month, man.
Oh, Jim Crow. I think there was one story though I read where one was a slave, and he comes back and not only he kills like the entire generation of slave owners. So yeah, that was hilarious. So, very funny.
Yeah.
Last day. No, oh yeah, it is today, the 29th. Yeah. Oh, we get an extra day of Black History Month this year. Woo!
Yeah.
We go back
Fourth to do that. Yeah. Yeah, but as Aaron points out.
That's hilarious.
No. Mark was. I think I know what they're talking about here because they're also.
He was in a movie with Brittany Murphy.
Yeah, it was called Drive. Yeah. Oh, Drive is awesome.
I mean, we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago. That movie just went under the radar. I think it made like $8 in the movie. That movie is really fun.
Oh,
and
hell yeah.
He showed everything he can do. That's why I'm like, dude, how did this guy not? How is he not in everything? Why am I getting Claude Van Damme? Why am I not getting that guy? No, nothing against Claude Van Damme, but this guy was brisk and clean, and his fighting style was like really exciting to watch.
Mark, he was something else. If you haven't seen Drive, I highly. It basically Drive is kind of like because it came out about like a little bit actually before Rush Hour, so it has kind of a similar sort of a Rush Hour buddy comedy kind of thing to it. Because especially because it's also got the Asian and black buddy in it, so it's it was something in the air during that time between Rush Hour and Martial Law and Drive that you kind of had that formula. But yeah, Drive, you haven't seen it. It's a real kind of cult classic, and Mark is of course phenomenal in it.
Freeway, I've seen Freeway, not the same thing.
But actually, yeah, whatever you got to tell yourself worth. But we're going back to this because I was watching a little bit. I was actually about to bring this up because it kind of relates to the Crow. Like you said, it always goes back to the raid though, because they were also a couple people were also bringing up in the comments. Bill Skarsgård a little bit before the Crow comes out. He's also got something else coming up called Boy Kills World. It actually looks really awesome. If you guys haven't seen the trailer, yeah, and
Skarsgård was in Dune, the flying fat guy.
Oh yeah, he's really he's after Pennywise. I mean, the sky's been the limit for him. But
well, his father is in Dune. I mean, there's like 10 Skarsgårds out there and shit, right now.
Yeah, but anyway, Boys Kill. He plays this kid who's like his family gets killed by like this crime family, and so he's left mute and deaf. So his inner monologue is like this video game narrator, and so he has to he wants to get revenge. So he goes off in the woods and he trains with the Salat master who is played by Yaya Ruyan from the Raid movies. So you can understand. Obviously, I'm very much looking forward to that. But yeah, it's
I'm gonna do a chart. I'm going to do a chart how everything that lives and breathes is somehow associated with the Raid. And I'm going to find logical ways that at some point in time, everybody has been on this movie. On the set, they're associated with it. And I'm gonna have your head in the middle of it. And it's all these little lines going all like those conspiracy things.
What is it for me? It's like 6 degrees or 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. But it's dry.
That's what it is for me. Yes, it is, Aaron. Yes, it is. Drive is awesome. Drive is fan-freaking-tastic.
I'm trying to find it. Here we go. 1997. Kateem Harrelson from a different world. Let's see. Here we go.
Yeah. Well, for those of you who haven't seen it, it's like, Mark. He's coming from Hong Kong, and then he's had this device implanted in his body that kind of gives him enhanced physical abilities, and so he's trying to sell it to this company and get $5 million, but his creators of course want to get it back, so he's trying to get to Los Angeles, and he teams up with Kadeem Artisan, and he says, okay, if you get me to Los Angeles, I'll split the money with you. So
hold on, how much the movie? Okay, it didn't. I didn't. This was before they gave budgets out.
Yeah, well,
But
I don't think it was like a big theater thing either. It was basically a straight to video one, but it's like it's 10 times better
yeah,
than like most of them was out theatrically at that time as
it's an
far as like action
alternative.
movies.
Yeah, that was a really fun movie. I really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, and of course I've had the pleasure of interviewing Mark twice. Yeah, and of course I got to reminisce a little bit about him when he came out of John Wick 3. It was actually very short notice because there was originally Hiroyuki Sanada was supposed to be the villain in John Wick 3. Then he had to pull out. So Chad basically called up Mark like 5 days before and said, "Hey, could you possibly make this?" And Mark was able to, fortunately, and then Hiroyuki Sanada came back for John Wick 4, so it all worked out. So Mark, Mark. I feel like because of John Wick 3, a lot of people have kind of rediscovered Mark Dacascos.
All right, Skarsgård's the worst. Yeah, well, Barbarian wasn't a good. Barbarian was, jeez. That movie was so disappointing. I watched. I was so excited to see that movie, and when I saw that movie, and like I said, there are certain movies where I'm on board with you. I'm watching the movie, and everything's going good. All the elements are there, and you're just going down the path, and suddenly you kind of feel the car turn. When you're supposed to be going somewhere, and we're going somewhere else, and we're turning into that corner, and it's like, we're not on the right path anymore. And I felt myself going that way in the last 15 minutes of Barbarian. The last 15 minutes of Barbarian ruins that movie for me. Same thing with 10 Cloverfield Lane. 10 Cloverfield Lane is an excellent movie until that Scooby-Doo mystery machine, monster, whatever the fuck that was at the end that they never really followed up on. But the rest of the movie, that's one of John Goodman's best performances. And Mary Louise, what's her face? She's great in that. She's great in that movie. And Miss Obi-Wan, I can't think of her name right now, even though I know her name. She's great in that. She's great in just about everything she's been. I even like her in Scott Pilgrim, which I had no reason to watch that movie. I don't know what I was doing. I think I was sick one day, and I had the TV on. I kept going in and out of consciousness because I had the flu. I forgot what I had, but I'm watching it, right? And I'm like, I don't feel like turning the channel. It's actually really good. People getting their asses kicked and coins and shit going everywhere. And I'm like, all right, cool. This is fun. I had never played the game before, and I never will. But I'm like, this is kind of entertaining. And she's in that movie. And then Allison Peely, who plays the drummer, is in Star Trek. Was in Star Trek Picard for a while, all grown up. So I kind of enjoyed that movie. I guess it's the only Michael Cera movie I've ever sat through. I don't think I've sat through anything else.
Yeah, another plug. I got to interview Michael Cera a while back for Paws of Fury about 2 years ago. So I was gonna plug myself. Rash was no, I don't do interviews on YouTube because I write for a couple of outlets like specifically Mark Dacascos. I've interviewed him for both Kung Fu Kingdom and Screen Rant, which and of course he was a real pleasure for both those. Of course, you may have heard of my departure from Screen Rant recently, but still, of course, writing for Kung Fu Kingdom. But yeah, those were both. Those were both about 2 years ago, I think, when I interviewed Mark. And of course, he was absolute pleasure to talk to. I mean, the dude's just so cheerful and so he just got so much energy and so much so much charisma. I mean, he's like William was saying. It's like aside from his, of course, his physical abilities as a martial artist, he's a very engaging guy, very to be to see on screen or to talk to. So yeah, Mark is he's definitely got a lot of I think his potential was untapped for quite a long time, but I think people are finally getting picking back up on that after John Wick 3. And yes, he was also as Kung Lao in Mortal Kombat Legacy. Okay, so what else we
see? It's on Pluto.
That was actually the first thing I saw. Mark.
It's on Amazon. Wow, it's on everything. I think I might watch this movie. It's been a while since I watched that movie, but that movie was fun. And he's dodging bullets. I'm watching the scene right now where he's dodging bullets with his feet. He's doing his little dance. Yeah, which is completely bullshit.
I remember there's one part, the one part in when they have like the big hotel like kind of action scene that's like 15 minutes long, and one of the guys says, "Be mindful of your handguns because he has the tendency to take them away from people and use them against them." So.
Now let's remember that Mark Dacascos is 60, but not Geek Daddy 60. Yeah. Like he's different. He looks good.
Oh,
he looks better than I do now. I'm looking at him now, and I'm like, there's another one of these motherfuckers that are never going to age. He looks great. He's ripped too, and that's 60.
Oh, he's in awesome shape. Yeah.
So what kind of stuff?
Double Dragon.
John Wick.
Yeah. Again, let's like I think a lot of people really rediscovered Mark through John Wick 3 when he was the villain Zero in it, and he's of course the whole fanboy. It's like I'm a big fan. You haven't disappointed. Like I think people really kind of remembered like, oh yeah, we Mark we kind of forgot like how awesome he is, and he's had a
happy birthday. He just turned 60 like 2 days ago.
60 the other day. Yeah, Double Dragon Rational. That was actually the first thing I saw Mark in. I mean, it's goofy as hell, but at least it kind of he's awesome though. The Double Dragon movie from '94.
I never saw that.
Yeah, Mark. Yeah, he's a real pleasure to talk to. I really enjoyed interviewing him.
So, Dune, how much money do you think it's gonna make?
Oh yes, how much do I think it's gonna make?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I'm going to be seeing that tomorrow night. I already got my my AMC
popcorn bucket, Brad.
I'm definitely gonna try to get that when I get there. You know, I'm always reticent to give box office predictions because I suck at it. You know, I if I had to venture a guess, it's like I think this has a good chance of substantially outdoing the performance of the first one.
Oh, that to me is like, yeah, because you can't watch this anywhere else too. So plus it's built that audience. I'm gonna say in the 7 or 8 range.
Bradley agrees.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, there you go. 7 or 8. If it does more, great. I think this is gonna be Denny's most successful, commercially successful movie.
I think so too. I think so too.
He's made some really good movies that didn't make a lot of money, and I am glad, and if Warner Brothers of all people, that don't look at that and say, well, this guy can't direct. No, this guy can do it. It's just he makes movies that he's like he's like Nolan. I don't get Nolan for the most part, Nolan's movies. But he makes movies for he said that. Not everybody's gonna get my movie. And I appreciate Nolan being honest about that, because a lot of people just argue with the fans and be like, well, you're just a fucking idiot. And he's like, no, you're not an idiot. You just get my movies. And I don't. I'm one of those guys. You know?
Austin is shooting a little bit higher here. He thinks it might have shot at 800 to $1 billion.
That wouldn't surprise me either. I think that Dune is not as ready friendly as like a Star Wars or anything like that, or like a comic book movie, because it is complex. Even though they've done a beautiful job in laying it out, a lot of people look at Dune and it doesn't have that. But like I said the other night, it has all the people in it that do, though. Even though the IP may not be instantly connectable to you, right off the bat, right out of the oven, Austin Butler is connected. I mean, these are the it people right now. Zendaya, Timothée Chalamet, these are the people that are right in this generation of moviegoers. These are the people who are attracting the main median demographic to the movies. So even if you don't connect to the IP, it's just like Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl. A lot of people didn't know about Super Bowl, but they were Taylor Swift fans, so they watched the Super Bowl. How do you get your audience? Doesn't matter. Getting them matters. So they may have attracted enough people with just the demographics of all the star power that they. Like I said, you got somebody in there for my dad's generation in there. You got Christopher Walken in there, and like I said, I had to hold myself back when it was dead silence in the movie. Like I told you before, because I wanted to scream out, "I need more cowbell." But I didn't want to get thrown out of my, because you would have known it was me instantly. I would have got a laugh, and then I would have gotten thrown out. But you got Christopher Walken in there. You got Josh Brolin in there. You got, Rebecca Ferguson. You got people that are like overlapping in so many other movies that are doing really well right now. And plus, you got the first Dune. So if it makes dude, that would be wonderful. This movie, in my opinion, I don't think it'll make $1 billion. I'm skeptical. It deserves to make $1 billion. How about that? It deserves to make $1 billion.
Yeah, well, and also, again, the other thing about the $1 billion, the whole $1 billion prediction is that we do, I think post pandemic, we do also have to be very cognizant of, how much more of a scarcity that is these days. Because one thing I always point out, do any kind of box office analysis talk, is that it is not going to make only 55 million for it.
I think the pre-sales have already broken that. So,
but it is going back to the last pre-pandemic year, 2019. I mean, the 10 biggest movies that year, 9 of them broke $1 billion, or 9 of them broke $1 billion, and the lowest one, Jumanji: The Next Level, is like that still did 800 million. So with
still
the pandemic,
much money.
Jumanji
made that much money.
I like the Jumanji movies, but going back,
I'm not knocking on, but I'm like, damn.
The fact they became as big as they did is definitely a big surprise. Yeah, but of course, adding in, we had the pandemic and we had all the other kind of factors with streaming rising and other economic factors to it. So we have to be cognizant of that as far as like the change in terms of like box office trends. It's like what post pandemic, what has hit $1 billion. We have not had 9 yet. Post pandemic, like what are they trending? There's Spider-Man: No Way Home,
Barbie and Spider-Man. Shit, is it? And then Mario Brothers. Did Mario Brothers do?
I'm gonna go ahead and look right now. Let's see. Pull it up.
But by the way, most movies will not make that. No matter how good they are, most movies will not. You have to have everything going right for you. And even Oppenheimer getting as close as it did. Like I said, I love that movie. Enjoyed that movie. It's my second favorite Nolan movie out of the 2 that I enjoy. And the other one being Dunkirk. I'm sorry, but if the pink Pepto-Bismol craze with Barbie wasn't around, a lot of people went to go see Oppenheimer that were not going to go see Oppenheimer, and I'm happy because I mean they got some culture in them, man. They got I don't know if you ever see something like that again, but it was good. Like I said, I enjoyed Oppenheimer, even though I what's up?
I think that might be an AMC exclusive.
Yeah, popcorn bucket. That's it. Did you see the American Pie meme with the popcorn bucket sitting in?
Oh God!
That was so funny. They replaced the pie with the popcorn bucket, and then I have a split screen where I put myself.
And see, the thing about it is, like, you could still have the joke at the end where the dad says, "We'll just tell your mother that we ate it all."
Yeah, because of the popcorn.
Oh, okay. We're gonna back that off now, guys. But yes, let me see if I can pull up the.
That was Brad, by the way, going into.
Just skirt. Yeah. Okay.
So, we haven't had. Where's that blame Brad hashtags? The hell, man, we haven't. You guys got to, keep up the standard too. He's got to do something to be blamed for. So why don't we just get it?
Yeah.
We have Avatar. Avatar did like $2 billion, didn't it?
Yeah. Yes. I'm looking right now. So Spider-Man: No Way Home, Top Gun: Maverick.
There we go.
Jurassic,
there we go.
Super Mario Brothers.
Jurassic World pulled in $1 billion?
Huh?
Did Jurassic World pulled in $1 billion?
Yeah, the last Jurassic World that did $1 billion. And then Barbie did. Because I'm missing it. Yeah, Spider-Man, Barbie, Top Gun: Maverick, Jurassic World Dominion, Super Mario Brothers, Avatar: Way of Water. So yeah, we've had like $6 billion movies post-pandemic, and again, the last 2019, last pre-pandemic year, we had 9 that year. So that should tell you something about how much the kind of the trends have changed box office wise.
But I think certain movies, no matter how good they are, you're going to have less $1 billion movies, in my opinion, simply because, like I've always sped out, is the dynamics of the family income. You just can't, some days you just, you have to pick and choose. So even though the movie may be worthy of $1 billion, like I don't think Dune's going to have that problem, because if you have to wait for financial, I understand. But if you have the financial means and you still wait to go see Dune on your TV, I don't care what. I have a movie screen. I have a 20-foot screen in my office with nice sound, and it makes seeing that in IMAX makes mine look like I'm one of those kindergartner AV specials. You have to see this, in my opinion, if you can, in the largest, loudest format that you can. It needs to be. You need to feel this fucking movie.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, and with like what you're saying about like the economics of me, I mean, speaking as somebody, I'm neither married nor do I have any kids. I got my AMC membership, and of course, for those you don't have that, so you pay $20 a month, you get 3 freebies a week. So it's like I can use that very economically. It's because I'm only paying for myself. But a lot of people who have that, they might be married or have kids. So it's like you use like all 3 of those when you're going, in one shot to one showing. Then you have to wait the next week to do that. So,
and I'm single with no kids, but I don't, because of our association with studios, I very rarely, pay for a movie, respect, because like I said, seeing Dune, seeing Dune, if I hadn't gone to that screening, I was gonna definitely go see Dune, because I love the first, and this director has not let me down. I mean, he is getting better with each movie. Now, Blade Runner, like I said, I'm biased when it comes to his Blade Runner 2049. That movie will probably, but when you watch Blade Runner 2049, I'm sorry, it's one of the best science fiction movies ever made, and I will defend that. I don't need to, but I've watched a lot of science fiction movies, and like I said, I was going to be the biggest critic of 2049 because I'm gonna be like, man, it's just a cash grab. Here I am, Independence Day resurgence all over again, and it's not. It's not. Now, Dune's pacing is better than Blade Runner 2049, but I believe Blade Runner 2049 is a slightly better movie than Dune Part 2. But like I said, it's like pick your poison. They're both any movies, you know what I mean? It's like you're picking one. It's like your children. It's like, which one do you love more? But yeah, I Dune, like I said, its pacing is like, I was in 2 hours and 40 minutes. And this has been a week where I haven't had all my strength. I've been tired. The allergies, everything else this week. You guys can see my eyes are all swollen shut on some of the streams. So for me to sit down, and risk falling asleep, no matter how amped I am I was there the entire time. When I felt that it was wrapping up, because I feel okay, and I'm like looking around, like, oh wow, this is almost over, and I knew that they were setting us up for Messiah. So I'm like, wow. I mean, and that's another thing that helps the pacing. You know damn well there's going to be a third one, so you can pace that shit all the way through. But his speeches, I'm not the biggest Timothée Chalamet fan. He does movies I just don't see for the most part. I mean, Wonka's not my big deal. Saw it, but it ain't that big a deal for me. It's not like it just, I got to go see you in this. Call Me by Your Name, not happening. And he's been in a couple other ones that just movies I don't see. Nothing against him as an actor. So I didn't really get a chance to experience him that much prior to this. He's amazing in this. He and Rebecca Ferguson's, even when they're not on the camera with each other, they're powerful. They are relevant when they're not even on the screen. And like I said, other than that, once it goes to tears, Florence Pugh's great in this. But Austin Butler to me was a standout. Other than those guys, Austin Butler, I just wanted him to I just wanted to choke him. And everything about him in this movie, his cadence, his voice, just his attitude, his ruthlessness. And I'm like, I just want to stab you in both eye sockets, dude. He was like Joffrey to me. It's like, dude, where's your purple poison? You're gonna die. But he does a great job of emoting that I hate you emotion. And all the bad guys in there, even Christopher Walken, for those of you who know, it's not a spoiler. The quick Christopher Walken, I'm not going to tell you the details, but he's an asshole. The Emperor's an asshole. That's not but the kind of asshole that the Emperor is in like the original movie, it's kind of goofy. Just imagine, and I don't know why I'm okay with Christopher Walken's Brooklyn accent in the middle of fucking nowhere in space. Why am I okay with that? He's like, you understand why I had to do it. And I'm like, where are you from? Brooklyn, Arrakis? What is this? I didn't care, though, because it's Christopher Walken at the top of his game. I mean...
Yeah, if anybody complains, I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron.
Yeah. He's like, you know what it means.
Don't be all wrong. It's wrong tone.
I'm like, we're in space. We're in space.
That's the meaning. That's the meaning.
Yeah. 10,000 years into the future, are they talking like they're from the Brownstone area? I'm like, this is great. But I was like I said, I love Christopher Walken, and just if you want top tier Christopher Walken, The Prophecy is it for me. The Prophecy and The Prophecy 2, but the Prophecy 2 sucked as a movie, but not him. He's great in it. But The Prophecy, one of the better underrated horror movies of all time. If you don't know what The Prophecy is about, it's about basically hell on earth. It's about angels, the war between angels and humans, basically. And Christopher Walken is Michael, Archangel, and then he's the way he is and the way he looks, and and he's like when he can bring people back to life and use them as a surrogate because he can't act on Earth, and so they're half dead. So he says, "I'll let you die, but you got to work for me." And then they're like, It's you got to watch the Prophecy. That if anybody in the chat, if you've seen the Prophecy, you know what I mean. But that's top tier Christopher Walken. But here, this Christopher Walken, he's great in this. Who else is great in this? I mean,
but Bruce Wayne, why are you dressed like Batman?
yeah. If I'm in there, if they ever do a spoof on that set, like, they have Timothy, like, where in New York is the Emperor's phone? Because that's where he came from. But I love doing. I mean, it's projected to pull in about 67 to 80 million its first weekend, which is good. Like I said, with the price of just gas. William wants to choke Austin Butler. Yeah, I mean, I want to choke his character. What was his character's name? Fade. His Fade. Nay Baron Fade. I mean, he was his character, not him in general, but like just like Joffrey. I don't want to kill Jack Gleason, who plays Joffrey. But they're so good at their characters, you just want to like come here, so I can slap you. Florence Pugh's in it. Yeah, that's a princess. She's the Emperor's daughter.
You sounded like the general in Aliens, like Hudson, come here. Oh, yeah,
come here. He's look at my eyes. Florence Pugh, and she has that
chicken shit outfit.
Yeah, he's like, I just work here. Florence Pugh's voice, man, I could like. She should sell her. She could make hundreds of millions just ASMR. It's just hey Google, have Florence Pugh put me to sleep. She has that sultry voice, and it opens up with her reading. And she's not in a lot of the movie, but she's a very important part of that movie. And she's definitely she gets important as the movie goes on. And then Messiah, she's going to be key, obviously. But this one didn't take you in a lot of the places that the first one did, but you felt like you were everywhere. And then the way it's shot is like, man, dude. But a lot of I could see where they did save some money here, though. I could see, you guys will see it when you see the movie. But yeah, all right, enough about Dune. I'm gushing over Dune.
Yeah.
Okay, Florence. All right, I don't know. Okay, I guess that's subjective. I think her and Oppenheimer. I think Oppenheimer's her best performance, and she's not in that movie a lot either. But those scenes were hard. I mean, when she's fucking Oppenheimer in the hearing, that has to be a hard scene to shoot. If you guys know what scene I'm talking about, it's we're
pretty self-explanatory right there.
Yeah, but his wife is in the hearing room, and they're bringing up the affair he had with Jean Tatler, the woman, his mistress, and were you with her that night and all that, and his wife, which is Emily Blunt's character, is visualizing as they're talking about this. She's visualizing them, so it's from her point of view. So that had to be a hard scene to shoot, and plus, the other scenes she shot in there. But she's very believable. I think this one she's in here a lot more, so this is probably going to be a good one for her. But I think she's going to be more prominent in the third movie, though. She's definitely, because obviously I'm not going to spoil it for you. For those of you who haven't read the books, there's a reason why she's going to be very prominent in Messiah.
Oh, Aaron has one for me. How are you going with Avatar? I'm just on episode 7 at the moment. Well, you got only one left, and then she was like, "Yes, no, I finished it a few days ago. It's I mean,
binge watch it, you loser. You're gonna fry your brain that way.
This is like what we Avatar fans have been waiting for in live action. I mean, it's like the show's phenomenal. I can't wait for book 2. And Aaron, you're gonna love this. Without giving a spoiler, it's like the way the show, the last episode like teases. Okay, like I mean, everybody knows that the plans are for do book 2, book 3, but the way that the show teases, it's through a line of dialogue, and you'll know when you hear it, Aaron. But this one line is like it's so perfect for like setting up how you hear season 2. So yeah, love Avatar, absolutely love Avatar.
Drogo, why am I talking about Alex Ross today? Please tell me something that.
Because he tweeted this side by side image of like some images from Batman v Superman and some of his Kingdom Come artwork. First he tweeted that, and then he tweeted it and tagged James Gunn, and then he got pushed back like I did for the crime of saying he liked BBS, and then he had to delete it.
The internet's so fucked up. I don't know. Actually, yeah, I'm seeing it right now. But yeah, when him and Mark Waid, they were heavily, that the stuff that happened after it, a lot of the look that people always go back to Superman. Obviously, he is what he is. He's 6'3", white guy with black hair, blue eye, all that. That's so no matter who you get that has those features and making you're gonna have that. But to me, Alex Ross drew the prototypical Superman since 1996 when Kingdom Come came out, and then some of the other stuff he did for World's Finest. I've always considered his Superman to be like the standard bearer. So yeah, okay, yeah, I thought something happened to
I mean, it wasn't like a big controversy, but it's like again, just the haters who just will not let us like this man's body of work with the DC movies. It's just like there's something pathological about this, and the same goes for like anybody who just can't avoid any opportunity to say you're never going to see the rest of it.
Yeah, why? I mean, like I said, the Dan Lin thing I just thought was ridiculous because I'm like, dude, Dan Lin. I mean, him taking over Netflix meant absolutely nothing to me. CEOs taking over companies like that, he's not going to engineer the new direction of Netflix. Pretty much is what it is. But if Alex Ross, when we make the comic, damn straight, Alex Ross better be on some of those covers. Hello, Andre. Playing Final Fantasy. How you doing? I'm doing well.
So you can tell too, like a lot of the the shot composition and Zach's DC movies is definitely very Alex Ross inspired.
Yeah, I mean he's having this. By the way, thank you, Alex Ross. Back when we did our March 18th, our very first suicide prevention drive for when the release of the movie came out, he actually sent us stuff. And back, Scott won one of the items. He won one of the signed Alex Ross comics for the thing we gave away. We might get them on board again from April 19th. So like I said, we're at $8,000 right now, guys. Let me bring this up and put this in. It's in the descriptions already. But if you want to help out, if you want to help us get to 10,000, so we can do our happy dance. Right now we're just.
Yeah, so please, guys, start tagging it to some actually good movies we can do watch parties for. Oh, God. They are all just so happy they tortured me.
Hey, I'm happy because it got us to $8,000. And there you go. Like I said, all the shit that the internet was today. That's the one thing. I mean, if you're buying into this, then like I said, you're redeeming yourself. But like I said, I the whole day. That's why I opened up the show with the whole damn little thing. I'm like, dude. And I get compared to some of these guys because like I said, I don't know them from Adam. To be honest with you, I don't know any of these guys. But I'm like, I am a firm believer that once you grow up and become adults, believe whatever the fuck you want to believe. Like I said, as long as you believing in Santa Claus doesn't mean you climbing up on my roof with your binoculars, looking for him or getting in my way, But then we got a problem. But you know what? Believe what you want to believe. But Dan Lin's announcement should have just been some nondescript shit that nobody cared about. But
again, it's like it wouldn't have led to this fandom war drama if it hadn't been for like the initial oh yeah, thank you, Bradley.
There you go. Hey, we got to plan that too. By the way, I got to get that. Probably gonna watch the first one this Friday. Probably gonna fight one or two of them this Friday. So prep your stomachs for that one.
I thought we were doing Justice League Frontier this Friday.
No, that's Saturday. No, this Friday would be Scary Movie. Justice League Frontier would be Saturday at 2 in our normal slot for the charity.
Okay.
I know you want it to happen over and over again, and sooner, Brad. I wish there were more Scream movies. I wish we had like 20 or 30 of them. That we could just watch them.
Hell no.
Like Orange, kind of like Clockwork Orange, where your eyes are held open so you can watch it. But
it's going to make me look about 20 years older than I am now by the time we get through these.
Yeah, 8,000. I'm just refreshing it right now. I still can't believe we're at 8,000 right now that we've done. I'm happy. Anything else we got going on? I mean, it was really.
I think we covered it pretty well.
No Legacy starts filming today or tomorrow. Tomorrow, right?
Yeah, something about that. Yeah, they might be like showing like the emblem or something along those lines.
Yeah, we should see the costume, and I'm pretty sure that's gonna, be a point of conversation. I really, be honest with you right now, I don't care what the costume looks like, because There's only so many ways you can go. It's gonna be recognizable as Superman. That's really all I care about. I hope you don't bring back the trunks because I think the trunks are ridiculous. But if you do, it's not going to be a deal killer.
The trunks are a deal breaker for me, but I think at this point, we've seen so much of him comics wise and movie wise and TV wise without the trunks. That's like we kind of evolved with beyond the the need for the trunks being a necessity with the suit.
I never want to see them on Batman again.
The trunks, I necessity for Batman.
What's up? Yeah,
they're even less for Batman. Yeah.
Well, because like I said, back in the whole cape, remember most superheroes don't have capes anymore. It was a DC thing for the most part. If you look at the majority of, because of the era that DC came out with, capes and circuses and strongmen and all that stuff that was associated with that get up. If you look at the get up of the superhero of that era, it was prevalent in just about all that society, the ads, everything else. This guy can lift 1,000 pounds over his head, and he would have that unisuit with the overlap of it, and that would be basically what most of the characters would have coming out. Now Marvel would adapt it and keep it like he's X-Men, and most of those guys would have trunks, for the most part. But after that, in the mid '60s, it started to go away. The X-Men original costume became a thing with the New Mutants and everything else. But you notice as we moved along in the '70s, Stan Lee got rid of a lot of that stuff. Jack Kirby, stopped doing it. And then as you got, into the '80s, you still had it with like Wolverine and certain ones, but not in the same way. His suit, and then he went to a brown suit. The brown, in fact, a lot of people forget about that suit. My favorite Wolverine suit was the brown one, the brown and orangish one.
Hey, that was pretty good.
Oh yeah, I love that one. We went back to the yellow one, but I really liked the brown one. Is indicative for me of the heart of the Chris Claremont era. And they didn't go back to the yellow and black suit until the issues in the late 270s, 271, 272. But I'm not a big fan of the yellow suit because that's not the suit that I grew up with. As far as that was his original suit, and he had the whiskers, and all that shit. But I like the brown suit because of those. That was my era of Chris Claremont. That was the era where Chris Claremont just changed. He changed comics. I mean, he took comic books out of the traditional superhero realm for both major companies at the time, and he took it somewhere else that, to be honest with you, laid the groundwork for a lot of the stuff that happened, even on a cinematic level, because he was the first one to tell the type of X-Men stories that you would eventually see in the Fox movies. Granted, you had the cartoon. I'll get into that rabbit hole, but even his influences felt there, not as much as it needed to be, but it felt there. So Chris Claremont, just no S on the bottom of his boots again. And I hope, to be honest with you, I hope they don't do the S on the back. I'm not a big fan of the S on the back. I'm like, it's Superman. You don't need a rear view mirror to let me know that's it. But yeah, I prefer Bone Claws. That was a weird era. After he got his adamantium stripped from him, and you realize that the claws were always there. Yeah, I was a bigger fan of the just the metal ones, but then again, it was part of his rehabilitation and rebranding of the character. Hopefully, we get a Superman announcement today. What else is to be announced? I think you'll start seeing set leaks. You're going to start seeing set leaks within a week, so you're going to know by this weekend. Unless they're not filming costumes, you're gonna know what the costume looks like. So that'll be over 9,000. What's over 9,000? I want to watch Dune. Where's my car right now? Oh Jesus. Costume reveals. Well, yeah. I mean, it's today they start shooting, so you're gonna see it. You might not see the final version of it because you might have like a CGI cape and all that other shit, and it might be a different color because sometimes they do the color grading so that they can change lighting. But yeah, I don't know what else is there to announce. All the cast people are in place. I don't know who the villain is. Maybe a villain. Maybe I don't know. Danlin stuff is a huge deal. It's comes to pass, but I'm interested to say. Yeah, I mean, we knew about these comics before. I heard about this comic before. I didn't, but like I said, it's just like today they attached it to the announcement like it was going to be this big, thing. And I'm like, it was just reaching around, to go out of your way to try to stick it to people. And I'm like, it doesn't really matter what the topic is. Don't we have better things to do? I'm just saying, but wasn't justice. His comments even real though. I didn't care about the comments when he made them, to be honest with you. I don't know why everybody tried to use them as a baseball bat over people's heads, but like I said, Dan Lin is banned because, to be honest with you, after today, I have no use. I have no reason to ever bring him up again. Him running Netflix is like, okay, big deal. He's not going to do anything that is really going. I don't think he's going to do anything that's groundbreaking because Netflix is there. It's not like HBO or HBO Max, or if somebody came in and replaced Casey Bloys, this guy's going to be able to take it to the next level because HBO Max is still growing and still becoming what Netflix already is. But if it's not broke, there's not going to be some spectacular shift in anything right now because the stockholders and the people who fund Netflix ain't going to allow it to happen. Your CEO, yeah, great, but he's not going to do some crazy shit. He's not going to cut an IP or do anything without the approval of a whole bunch of people, because when it's Netflix, there's a lot of people that have their hands in that pie. There's a lot of money in Netflix. There's a lot of people that invest and finance Netflix that allows them to be able to operate between 8 and 12 billion in debt and not have it matter because they're provided with everything they need to draw so much revenue. There's just nobody that's going to change that. It could be bad. It could be you. It could be you running Netflix. All you're going to do is go in there and say, "What have you guys been doing this whole time? Okay, keep doing that." And that's it. So the Dan Lin appointment didn't mean anything to me other than the fact that, like I said, and this is me getting used to Twitter, even though I've had it forever, all the associated shit that gets attached to that, I'm seeing that in real time, and I'm like, the fuck does this have to do with anything? Why do I even care? Why is this guy on my timeline, number one? Why I wasn't searching for Dan Lin. Why the fuck is he even on my timeline? And then all the other stuff was I just got to laugh at it. It depends on who is writing them. I mean, they're both Department H. They would say yes, and then they would say no. You called them the C word. Don't know where you're going with that one, though. So, all right. So what's today? Thursday, last day of February, last day of Black History Month. Woohoo! Yay! At least we got an extra day this year. One more month until we get thefted about an hour. But you know what? I'll make a deal with the witch doctors. You cut this rain quota in by 90%. I'll be okay with you stealing an hour from me. I'm even ready for the heat. That's sad. But all the rain we got this year, fuck all that. I don't care. Don't care. No, my roof wasn't, under drought conditions. So there we go. All right, room at Denman is called Snyder AC next Tuesday in meetings before, but that's not confirmed. Oh, yeah. I mean, and like I said, it really doesn't matter. I mean, and as far as Rebel Moon goes, I mean, you know what?
They're going to be working together now, so I mean, he better want that back if he did that.
Well, I mean, and here's the thing: if there were something going on that they couldn't work with each other, and I don't believe that, if they're grown ass men. Zack Snyder is not under an exclusive deal with any studio. He's under a first look, a limited time. I think that's almost. I don't think that has too much more time left on it, but he's under a first look deal. So if the stuff he presents to Netflix they don't want, that allows him to take it to anywhere else he wants to. So I mean, he's a free agent. He belongs to Stone Quarry. He doesn't belong to Netflix. Like I said, the only thing that the contract says is if he has an independent IP and original IP that Netflix or a visual story, individual storyline that original, that he has to take it to them first. That's what but that doesn't mean that he's exclusively with Netflix. So if he decides that, hey, I don't want to work with this management for every reason, he can that deal won't be forever. And he can like, if he wanted to do, if somebody said like James Bond, I'm just throwing that out there. So say if Universal say, hey, we want you to do James Bond, that does not apply. He can go do James Bond because that's an IP that's not owned, that you could never have a first look at anyway. So I don't think it means anything in regards to that. I don't know, we're going to get, I don't know if Rebel Moon was meant to be a trilogy or not per se, but if it isn't, I mean, if they don't want it after first look, then he can shop it to somebody else. You know, so I think it's I think that but there's a lot of people who don't like each other in Hollywood. They still work with each other, but I thought that was overblown. But all right. Well, happy leap year, everybody. Yeah, leap, leap, leap. No, I just think I don't. He just seems like the guy who would just move on to something else, to somewhere else. I mean, why he doesn't? Once you reach a certain level, you don't have to deal with things. You can pretty much try, and he's not under contract with anybody. He's like Nolan. Nolan doesn't belong to Universal. Nolan did that movie for Universal. Nolan can come back to Warner Brothers if he wanted to. I mean, who knows? I mean, if there's a project or an IP where Nolan says, I want to do it, same thing with Danny Villeneuve. He does movies because of Legendary Association, but I hope he stays with Warner Brothers forever, because I think that, why would you let that guy walk? But, you're going to have to keep him challenged. You're going to have to keep him, you're going to have to keep giving him projects that, allows him to go to the next level. And at some point, he's going to have enough power to tell you what he wants to do. This is the kind of movie I want to make now. Let's do this. And you either make it happen or watch him trot right down the street to another one of these lots. So it's just business. No, I don't think he's, like I said, it's going to hurt that. And I don't think he's going to make any major differences. It would be different if Netflix or Warner Brothers and we were looking for some huge turnaround. But Netflix they're the game. They're what everybody wants to be. And it won't depend. Yeah, I don't think it's going to have any effect at all. That's why when I saw it today, I'm like,
like I said, these detractors. It's like it's not enough for a lot of these haters. Like if Zack never ever makes another DC movie, it's like that's not good enough for them. It's like they have just this weird, unhealthy need for his life and career to go down in flames and his fans to go down with him.
And it's never going to happen. 3 days to ready. Yeah, Sting's last match. That's going to be one of the highest buy rates out there. Sting's last match. There's a couple other good ones on there. I'm looking forward to the Swerve Strickland, Samoa Joe, and Adam Page match. I'm actually looking forward. I love Samoa Joe. I love him at this level. There's going to be a couple other matches I'm watching, but I'm mainly watching it because it's somebody who watched Sting from the moment he came out here. Not out here in Vegas, but the moment he came, out into, to professional wrestling and it was on TV that I could watch. I've been following Sting since he was in the mid-20s, and now him being 63, 64 years old, still looking like he does, and being able to go out on his own terms and not be carried out is really important. I think a lot of people are going to watch that pay-per-view. And I think I actually think Okada is going to make his debut at this pay-per-view, possibly, or they might hold him to the TD Bank. I know Sasha Banks isn't gonna. I think it was March 12th, Aaron, is when Sasha Banks is supposed to make her appearance. So AEW's in a good spot right now, as long as they play within themselves and and don't listen to these other knuckleheads that are constantly gonna do the inevitable comparisons to WWE. WWE's been around for 70 years. And has been at it a lot longer. And to be honest with you, the product is watered down now, but they got the brand name, they got a lot of that. You don't need to worry about them. There are plenty of people that will watch AEW that are not currently that enthused with the WWE product, and you provide an alternative. So just continue to do what he's doing, he'll be fine. But yeah, Revolution is big. I'm going to be watching that, and I don't have to be up at 2 a.m. in the morning to watch it, Aaron. I saw you might have to. Sorry. Let's see. I want a Sasha Banks bucket too. All right. Well, you go ahead and tweet, tag her in a tweet. She would have to. See how quickly you get blocked. Oh, the Doom bucket, the gift that keeps on giving. That's another cool thing about that is, that was totally off mark, but it still works for them. It still works to promote the movie. And Denny Villeneuve was like, "What the fuck is that?" That was hilarious. Because I guess they didn't run it by him, obviously, but when he saw it, he laughed his ass off. So, all right, guys. Anything else? Got anything else, Brad? I don't know. I don't know what you consider a friend. I can't stand the character Bane, and I really hope David, if you're watching this, I know you watch the internet now. And some of my friends have interviewed you, but dude, don't do it, man. Play Roz. I'll go. I think that would be I think that would be just such a great role for you.
Bane, I'm gonna go the opposite. Dave, totally do it. Totally do it, Dave.
Waste of your newfound
ability. Do it, Dave.
waste of your talent. The fact that you're
break the bat, Dave.
There you go. Now here, suck. There you go. Haven't played Perry White. Even Perry White, I would like to see him. I think I would want to see him in the movie the entire time, and I think not Bane. I think Ra's al Ghul puts him in a feature role. So, all right, guys, it's 1:20, and that's all I got. So here we go. So, as I opened up the show, the internet can be a really shitty place. It should not be what drives your happiness, especially the negative stuff on there. It's a thing that can connect us, but it's also something that allows people within arm's length to do damage. And a lot of mental illness, a lot of depression comes from these outlets. So I'm not saying don't use these outlets, but use them to find happiness. Use them to find something that makes you happy. You know, I mean, even though I was sort of, like I said, I wasn't even mad at the stuff that we started out with. I just was like, I'm asking a legit question. What, don't you have something better to do? I try to provide a conversation that makes people happy as possible. You know, I mean, we bring up certain contentious things, but at the end of the day, it's just, you know, we bring it back to the fact that it's comic book characters. And comic book characters are supposed to make you happy. Happy. Joy. So, but if you can't find that happiness, pound 988 suicide lifeline crisis. Try not to get to that point. And if you do get to that point, I hope it's not because of any of this stuff on Twitter and YouTube and all that. This is where you should be able to come and have a conversation and just, you know, and even if it's a disagreement, you should be able to leave here as happy as you came in. Austin and Bradley are in there, been going at it with me for about an hour or so. I don't hate them. I don't agree with them. Like I said, I have my stands on this. And like I said, the only hashtag I support is right down there. And by the way, this needs to gain some damn traction. It's the cheapest option that anybody's hashtagging for. My option costs 40 cents. It's 40 cents to make a comic these days, I think. A little bit more if you want to make a deluxe format. Alex Ross, I know you're Jim Lee, I know you guys are all on the couch right now with your slippers on and your fur coat, house coats, drinking the cognac and the Dom Perignon and all the stuff that you guys can afford. And you're probably watching me on an 80-inch TV. Dude, here's my hashtag. Just make the comic, man. Yes, I'm biased. I want to sell comics. Oh, that's so bad? But the comic books are part of DC, right? You know, DC. The only reason you have any of these characters is because these characters that were created 80 years ago on paper. You know, so why don't we tell some stories there and let's get everybody into the comic book stores. You know, come on, let's do it. Hashtag make the ZHJL comic. It's dirt cheap. It's cheapest of all the options, and then you can make toys like the Ben Affleck Batman toy I see people playing with. You can make even more of those. Hell, we can have characters that weren't even in the original story because we have pages now to just tell them. What is that version of Harley Quinn going to look like? You know, all kinds of stuff, and it's cheap, and people will buy it. All right, so Brad, where can they find you? Ben is not bad.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Vero and someone on Facebook. You can check out all my great writing on all these wonderful nerd topics we discuss out there. And of course, you can find me here suffering through more scary movie apparently in the near future.
The only thing I like about Ren Sippy, happy, joy, happy. Everything else about that cartoon is disgusting to look at. But that always got me. So it should be a bigger hashtag because it's the only reasonable practical one. Well, right now it's like I said, it's the practical one. It's the cheapest one, and anywhere you want to go, anywhere you guys want to take it. Once I got my 12 issues and I got my variant covers and I got my hologram covers and I got my toys, and I got everything associated. Wherever you want to take it, it rides itself. If it sucks and nobody buys it, then there you go. But if it sells 500,000 or 1 million copies, then math will do its thing. It's real simple. All right, guys, that's it. I'm out of here. I will see you guys tomorrow, unless I'm absolutely tired. One of these days, it's just going to be Brad, and then it'll just be raid jokes all day, and or you're gonna be bringing up raid, or they're going to be fighting that with scary movies. It's going to be hilarious. I might watch that show. Please like, subscribe, share, bring everybody into our little cult, our little religion, the positive one. Like I said, we can have a conversation here, and I'm not looking to poke people's eyes out. So, all right, say bye, Brad.
There, guys.
See you later.